yeah, this is going to be a longer version of the talk I already gave yesterday, the Bitcoin Circular Economy Summit. So yeah, let's do a quick show of hands, like we just like roughly know what Fedimint is. Okay, so we are doing an intro. Basically, yeah, we started Fedimint development about like 4 years ago, so it's been a while. And the problem that was like realized at the time was that the non-custodial Lightning solutions, they don't work because they are like in practice just not user-friendly enough, with like the need to, you know, open a channel for a user, especially in high-fee environment that is way too expensive for like people in the global south. So yeah, we were kind of forced as a space into custodial solutions. So the Fedimint approach was to make custodial solutions suck less, meaning we wanted to make them more private and as decentralized as possible. Yeah, maybe go to the next slide. Yeah, so the problem that we're trying to solve, like saying this in reverse, is that the solutions that most of you are currently using, which is Blink and comparable wallets, are extremely centralized and you have zero privacy. So they know your entire transaction history, they also know your balance. In South Africa especially, that might pose a physical threat to you if that balance is high, and so forth. And of course, like all your funds are held in one place, can be easily like seized or stolen, and in the case of Blink, it's not even in the country. Yeah, so you're like outsourcing your custody to one organization in El Salvador at the other end of the world. So yeah, that's the problem we're trying to solve, because we don't want to see like the custody of an entire country's Bitcoin with a single company in El Salvador. Yeah, that's what Fedimint is saying how to solve. And what we've built is basically it's a community banking system that like groups of people in a community can set up together, and it will provide like a banking service for like friends, family, community members, and so forth. Yeah, so the wallet that you can then use is going to look and feel very similar to Blink and other custodial wallets. So you don't have to manage Lightning channels whatsoever. But the custody will be held with members of your own community, and your community as such is sovereign. Yeah, you don't depend on any outside servers, and furthermore, you have very good privacy. So the people that take custody of your funds, they don't see your transaction history, they don't see your balance, they don't see how many people in total are using their servers. The only thing that they're really seeing, sorry, that's a step too far. The only thing that they're really seeing is the total amount in custody and the number of transactions per day, but they can't correlate this to any individual. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the next step. Next slide. So, for a while it was quite complicated to actually run a Fedimint. You had to have quite a bit of technical knowledge and expertise, but we managed to like massively simplify this over the last year. So the new deployment options are like the classic node in the box options, like Umbrella OS and Start9. But you can also run this on an old laptop if you're familiar with Docker, and you configure that. So it's a very easy service to set up. After that, you have like a graphical UI, you just click through it. The good thing, or the easy thing about like deploying this, is you only need to set this up once, which is maybe an effort of like 10 to 15 minutes. And afterwards, there's very little to do. So the system is completely automated. You maybe check in on it like once a month. And Lightning, for example, is as a service provided to you. So you don't have to manage, even as an operator of the federation providing the service to your users, you don't have to change, you don't have to manage channels in any way, you don't have to worry about liquidity, etc. Like, this is like offered to you as a service, and you don't have to trust the service provider. So, and the difference to a custodial service like Blink is that trust and service is in the same entity. Yeah, the people that you trust with the custody are also the same people that serve you with Lightning and manage the channels and liquidity, etc. With Fedimint, this is split. You trust like friends and family in your community, but they don't need to operate the Lightning service for you, which is like quite, time intensive. You just have to run your Fedimint Guardian on a start 9, you set it up once, and afterwards it like keeps chugging along. Yeah, maybe go to the next slide. Yeah, so once this federation has been set up, you can connect it with like a variety of apps. The most known one is Fedi. Many of you maybe have used it already, but there are now also different clients which are focused on being just Fedimint clients or just payments. One of the new ones is Conduit, which recently landed in the Play Store. So yeah, that's what it looks like. You can see it's very similar to a regular like custodial client, like the Blink client. So you only worry about making Lightning payments, generating addresses, and also making eCash payments, yeah, which we will later get to, a special kind of payment. And you have no like personal channel management to do. You don't have to worry about inbound liquidity whatsoever. Yeah. Okay, maybe to the next slide. Yeah. So we've set a system like this up down here in South Africa with the help of members from 4 different circular economies actually. So maybe I didn't elaborate on that enough. So the system is federated, meaning it's not one person running the system, but it's a group of people, each of which run their own server. And these servers connect and they operate the system collaboratively. So the Bitcoin funds are always held in like an on-chain multisig. So in the case of like 4 servers, which we call guardians, it would be a 3 out of 4 multisig. And actually one of those servers can go offline and the system is going to work completely fine. Yeah, so we did a trial run with like members, like 1 member from like 4 different communities, which are Bitcoin Ekazi, Bitcoin Bitstamp, Bitcoin Ubuntu, and Bitcoin Sedgefield. Yeah. Each of them is running a Guardian for the last 2 months, together forming the Good Hope Federation, aptly named after the Cape of Good Hope. Yeah, and me and a few other people have been using the app as a daily driver for like the last 2 months. Being in South Africa, living completely on a Bitcoin standard. And I have to say it works remarkably well. I myself am a bit surprised how reliable it actually is, because remember those people, they are running on start 9s on their own internet connection at home. So it's not a commercial grade internet connection, but it's like in some case like a line of sight South African internet connection that falls off when it's too windy. Yeah. Maybe if we can go like one slide back, is that possible? Yeah. So the Conduit client, for example, has this feature here which has like 4 dots for like the 4 members of the Good Hope Federation. And in this case, you're actually connected to all 4 of them at the same time. But it will also work fine if you are only connected to like 3 of them, but the 4th is blind. You can also operate this with like more than 4 people. It could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 10. In which case, like thresholds changes. So it would be like a 5 or 7 multisig or 7 out of 10 multi-sig on chain. The system, however, is like just as fast in performance, so it doesn't get any worse. It just gets more secure, actually. Yeah. So, yeah. What else there? What else there to mention? Yeah. So we'll be rolling this out more and more over the. Oh, there's a question already. Nice. Questions are great, actually.
So I remember, or I might be wrong, but as far as I remember, in the beginning it was not possible to exchange, to swap a federation, one of the Guardian members. What is the case now? So if we have a 3 or 4 multi-sig here, and like let's say the Konikasi has some whatnot issues, and it just like cannot go online ever again for whatnot reason, and then you have like a 3 of 3 basically. Would it be possible to take out Bitcoin Kasi and like remove it and swap in another Guardian?
No, that would not be possible. You would have to.
Can I interject? Sorry, he's going to give you the technical answer. So in practice, what will happen is you'll spin up a new federation, and the people will just migrate over to a new 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then the old one will just fall away.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but technically it's not. Yeah.
I was looking at the both. I mean that you can move over. Yeah.
So like swapping it out without your users not having to do anything is unfortunately not possible.
Yeah.
It will, however, be possible that you like set up a new federation and then you point your users to it, and they just have a single button in the app to click, and then they move over. For like a real serious like multi-year setup, you would maybe want to go with like 5 out of 7 for like that reason, because if first Guardian goes down or is lost or whatever, you don't have to act like immediately, because now you're down to like a 5 or 6, and that's still pretty good. Yeah. Any other questions maybe? I think this a bit more interactively. No questions yet.
You might have already answered this because I can't but can you have like 5 of 8, or do you have to have 7?
No, the thresholds are fixed by the higher number, so it would be 6 out of 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it, like a percentage basis?
Yeah, it's like strictly more than 2/3. So 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 7, 6 out of 8, 7 out of 9, and then 7 out of 10. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, there's one. Besides the hardware to install or run the servers, what other costs are associated with running the federation?
No costs. Yeah. So, yeah.
I haven't used the PDF in a while. I just downloaded it again because I also heard you can pay Pick and Pay. The Good Hope Federation, so is this private, or how does it, because I see the Discover thing and it shows my 2.
No, the Good Hope Federation is not that public.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So do you have to get invited into a federation?
Yes. Yeah. So the idea of like we have a couple of public federations, of course, that I use right now, but if federations get too big, you open up yourself to all kinds of like regulatory issues, of course. So our approach to this is make this so easy to deploy that it is very much possible to run a federation for like 100 members. So they would never be like publicly exposed. It would be like starting out at like one federation of the garden route. You know, you can like grow with this to like 1,000 members, or maybe like 5,000 users, something on that size. And then they would like gradually start to break off into smaller federations, where maybe something like a Whitsun, they town of 500 people. Eventually, they would run their own 3 out of 4 federation, or Bitcoin economy would run their own federation. Yeah.
So I mean, how do you move your funds from one federation to another federation? You just like select which one you want to be part of.
Exactly. So with the client, you can like sign up to multiple federations at the same time. You can easily switch between them. So So you create a Lightning invoice in one and pay it with the other, and that's how you move funds over. Yeah, or like with an on-chain payment between the federations, just as well.
And what's that cost between, if you pay sats for the movement?
Yeah, well, if you do make an on-chain payment, you just pay the on-chain fees. With Lightning, you pay Lightning fees. It is like comparable to the Lightning fees that you know today, 0.1% or on that order, depending on close they are connected. Yeah, it's like we have a concept that is, it's called a gateway. So that is basically your Lightning service provider. So when you set up a federation for the first time, you don't have Lightning available right away. You need someone that is like running a Lightning node combined with our software, which connects to your federation and provides Lightning services for you. This is called a gateway. If you have two federations that are connected to the same gateway, those payments are especially cheap. They never go over Lightning, they are just exchanged over the gateway. But most importantly, the gateway is untrusted, so it's an untrusted service provider. The worst thing it can do is it can go offline or provide a bad service.
Okay, so
yeah.
So like, I join a federation, and do I then make an on-chain or Lightning payment into it to move funds into the Fedi?
You can do both.
And then I use my Fedi wallet.
Yeah.
To spend, but am I spending Lightning or am I spending on-chain?
However you want. So if we go like one image back.
Like I'm living off Bitcoin, so for me it's typically I put on-chain funds in and then I spend slowly over time via Lightning wherever possible, and then there's the odd one out on-chain payment if like someone isn't on Lightning yet, like Proton Mail for example. But like Fedimint abstracts all of that away. You just scan it, no matter if it's a Lightning invoice, on-chain address, just works.
So you're not doing a swap or?
No, you don't do it. It's all one balance.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have like here, we have like 3 different types of payment options integrated in one balance. The first one is Lightning, which is like regular invoices, and also LNURL. So you can use this to like set up a sale, for example, also as well, similar to Blink. The second one is on-chain Bitcoin. Yeah, you're all familiar with that. And the third one is eCash, which is a privacy technology that makes the payments in the same federation, like very private. You can't connect them to the same user. But that only works inside the federation. So there's like a Fedimint specific thing. You can only do it with people that are in the same federation. Yeah. And there was a question there?
In terms of network connectivity, are there any censorship resistance built into Fedimint? For example, preventing the volume from being taken down?
Well, right now we don't use like.
So
yeah.
Let me answer that.
Sure.
Right now, the Guardian, like the connections all just happen ideally directly. Like we are using a protocol called IRO, and that uses like some infrastructure to create direct connections between the user and the Guardians. But that's obviously, if you're running it at home, not always ideal, depending on your situation. So what we're working on right now is on the Fedimint project, an ability to just one-click turn the Guardian into a Tor Guardian as a hidden service. And like that will probably, I would say, land around mid this year, like end of the second quarter. Like no hard promises, but yeah, we are working on it. Like Tor is like the solution. Like we are profiting a lot from the developments that have been going on in the Tor project itself. That made it so much easier now to run a hidden service inside Fedimint. Like even just a year ago, that wasn't possible yet, and that's why we just don't have it yet. But now it's ready on the Tor side, so we are integrating.
Great, Tor is exactly what I had.
Yeah, exactly.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, most importantly, everything needs to stay like really, really simple.
Yeah.
So like everything but like a simple button that you just click once is kind of not acceptable for us.
That's why like the previous hidden services weren't really an option. Like Fedimint already supports Tor actually, but nobody is like able to set it up reliably. So that's why we haven't been promoting with the single button click, I think we can make it work. And then I hope that most of the at-home hosted federations will just turn it on and be more private.
Yeah, but also to reiterate this, the idea here is that like the federations are like reasonably small enough that you are not like worth the picking. Yeah, maybe you serve like 100 or 200 users. So the answer to a lot of those questions is actually like make this easier to deploy. So people, like more people can run it, and you move away from this like public federation model, which is only ever to crush, because you, of course, you're paying like a huge target on your back whenever that's successful. Yeah, it's kind of like a doomed to fail situation. Yeah.
And also, the bigger the federation gets, the further the average user away from the guardians, like trust sense.
Yeah.
If you have a federation with 1 million users, then you can't convince me that every single user has like a strong reason to trust the guardians anymore.
No. The idea with like Fedimint is that you know the guardians, or at least like a subset of them, reasonably well. You know, you live next to each other. They are friends of friends. And that circle is only so big. So the whole this like public federation crutch also like defeats it, because they are like anonymously run, and that is that is all like fun and games until like while we're just like Bitcoiners having fun and like trying new technology and making like $5 payments. But this is a serious banking system, so it's not just to put like 20, 50 or 100 bucks in there and then like pay your coffee with it kind of as like a novelty item. This is banking infrastructure. So right now the on-chain fees are very cheap. You can go on-chain for like 50 cents, $1 maybe, but they don't have to stay cheap, and we already seen it once where they were like on average like $20, $50. So if you're in a situation where like on-chain fees are, let's say, on average $50 for an on-chain transaction, like the smallest amount that you can take economically, like on-chain, would be like $10,000. Yeah, because if you go on-chain and go back, that's $100. That's like 1%. Yeah, if you're using more, going like on-chain and back like all of the time, you're already more expensive than like existing systems. Yeah, please.
I'm talking about, I'm thinking of it, like is the proposed main use case that you have your cold storage and you have your Fedi wallet, and you have that you use for spending, and if you earn into the Fedi wallet as well, and then depending on that balance, you send to cold storage.
Exactly.
Like basically two kind of.
Exactly. And you could do this with like a.
Sorry, is that the point?
Yeah, that is a point. And I mean, you can do the same with like any custodial system, of course, which might or might not be private. But the point of federating it is pushing this like the amount when you should really go on chain higher and higher. So in a single sig, you might like really only want to keep an amount that is not that significant to you. While in like a 7 out of multi-sig, you might keep a year's worth of savings before you need to go on chain.
The risk for me is not so much how much is in the Fedi, but more the range attack in your Fedi wallet when you're going.
Well, that is then like similar to your like on-chain, right?
No, well, I mean, you've separated your physical body from your keys. You know, when you go to multi-sig, you know, then your active data use. You're not looking to put all your wealth into a phone.
I would say you are speaking as a power user here, and like most people that maybe aren't even Bitcoiners yet, they are not in a position that they have that amount of wealth that they would even be considering like the multi-sig, multi-jurisdictional setup process. So I think for you it makes a lot of sense, and we even like Fedi has built Fedimint modules that allow you to have a multi-sig inside Fedimint again. So that exists already, but I think something we are overlooking quite often as like people from the West or like with Western standards of living is that for a lot of people, on-chain will just be unaffordable, and so we need to make it safe enough. These scaling and like Bitcoin banking options, that they can actually keep their life savings in there. Like, because for many people, on-chain will just not work.
Yeah, please. Speaking of you know, the fees and keeping it inside of the federation, are there any fees involved with eCash transactions within the federation?
Come again?
Are there any fees involved with eCash transfers?
Yeah, there are fees involved with eCash transactions inside the federation. They are mainly a DOS protection, and they go to the guardians, which are currently 1 set per eCash transaction.
No, 0.
Sorry?
1 set.
For the entire transaction.
And 0.1 per node, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're relatively small. Like it's maybe every 3 or 4 sets, because you're filling up your wallet with all the different eCash denominations. But like for any real transactions, other than like a fun little 21, like just playing around with it, it turns out to be insignificant.
Yeah, even for South African standards, yeah.
Yeah, for now.
You had a follow-up to this, or?
It's actually a different question, but please.
Okay. Yeah. Danny, you want to direct in there?
Yeah, I wanted to add the idea of this is, you know, in the fiat system there is the banking is fractional reserve. So the fractional reserve is the whole fiat system, right? So the idea of this is for the community to have full reserve banking, right? So fractional reserve bank, full reserve good. So all of us, we can run nodes. So all of us, we can have a full node, okay? But that is not enough. So if all of us have a full node, then we can provide full reserve banking for our community. So that's it.
That's the point.
That's the
Yeah, comparing it to a full reserve bank is good. It's
this is for you to provide full reserve banking for your community.
Yeah.
So all of us, you run a node, all of us node, and then we do full banking for our community. But the community, they're not node runners. Maybe they don't understand Bitcoin, but
there are the people that would use a Blink wallet today, but have like stronger needs. So if you're the person today that has like a significant amount of money to you, which is like in the case of South Africa, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, so like a year's worth of savings maybe, and you have that right now in Blink wallet because you need it like Lightning enabled, yeah, and actually spend a little of that, and not just having cold storage. This is for you, yeah, especially if you have like tax concerns, etc., etc. So yeah, those are the people. Like if you have $10, $5 in Bitcoin, you buy a coffee with it like once a month. Just put it in Blink. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's insignificant. But if you are like an active Bitcoin user, yeah, and you have like a significant, to use significant volume and balance of Bitcoin that you need to have like for everyday usage, this is for you. So one use case that you could imagine here, we had a typical one of being having savings in Bitcoin or getting paid in on-chain Bitcoin and then moving them into Lightning. The other way around is like you might have a business, and as I said, you can run a point of sale against this. So you can set up a point of sale in your business with this as a backend. You just get the funds immediately in your federation, yeah, and can, of course, just like Blink, spend them in everyday life. Or eventually, once you have saved up a significant amount, you can afford the Onchain transaction and then move them on-chain with the significant difference that no one sees your transaction history, no one sees how much money you have, no one sees how much money your business made. Yeah, and while you're saving up to like the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to like warrant an Onchain transaction, you keep this money safe in like a 5 out of 7, 7 out of 10 intermediary. Of course, the phone is still single sig. So if like your worry is like that you are like have a wrench attack or something, you're in the same situation as with a single sig on-chain wallet, of course. But it's still significantly better than being on Blink where you have like a single point of failure, completely unknown outside of your control. Yeah, at least it's like intermediary step is like a 5 out of 7 multisig of people that you know. Yeah.
Sorry, just to add, another benefit of this is that over time the fiat system will like be against the nodes. So there will be a lot of surveillance for the nodes. So if big node people running nodes and self-custody, they will be attacked with surveillance because the network is transparent. So the people, like the people that are being provided this full reserve banking system, the surveillance will not get to them. So the surveillance of like the transparent blockchain stops at the node, but it doesn't go up to the people that you're providing the full reserve banking system. Yeah. So it protects the people. So if you do this in large scale, this is like decentralized grassroots full reserve banking for everyone.
Just one more question. In unlikely event, let's say something catastrophic happens to the guardians, let's say they are 4. What's the fallback thing for the people who are using the...
If like everything happens to all the guardians at once, there's no fallback. Yeah, it's like, this is not magic, but of course. Like that's all, you know.
Yeah, are guardians able to do sort of like backups of their...
Yeah, of course. So the guardians, they can do backups, and it's actually very easy to back up. So when you run a guardian in the beginning, you will make a static backup that you can put on an USB drive or whatever. And this is the only thing that you ever need to restore your guardian. So you can put this USB drive somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then if someone like breaks into your home and steals the start 9, it's not a problem. You get a new start 9, you put the USB drive in your backup. So this is like it's much easier to back up than a Lightning node. It's not the same. It's like, because Lightning node needs to continuously be backed up. This you do once, very similar to a private key, and afterwards there's like, you can always recover from that.
Yeah, so generally, I think you need at least one guardian to survive, and then you can save others from that. Ideally, a threshold of them, but in the worst case, like if you have one left, then you can very likely recover from
because you need to get like the history of all the transactions from somewhere. So if all the machines are like destroyed at once, the money is still gone. But if you have like one machine left, you can still like you can get this. Yeah, and in reality, like in practice, of course, we had, for example, in this test run, one of the 4 mistakenly deleted their guardian in an effort to update it, and this was actually not a problem because we could recover their guardian from like the backup they put in on an USB drive like a week ago. Yeah, so you should, like, if one of the guardians goes down, you should get a new, like, you should fix the hardware or whatever the problem is and recover if you have to, you know. But yeah, then it will work fine. There was another question.
Getting back to trust in guardians, what can a single compromised guardian do?
A single compromised guardian can do nothing.
But do they have access to transactions? What can they see?
Well, they do have access to the transaction history, but the transaction by itself tells you almost nothing.
So, in fact, the transaction history is public right now.
Yeah.
So there's a website called observer.fedimint.org that shows like volumes of public federations transaction counts. But like from the transactions that you can publicly see, you just can't learn anything about the users. That's the beauty of it. Like you don't know who made a transaction because one of the sides of a transaction, at least, is eCash, and that just cannot be. Like you cannot follow along.
It's not like the coin sentence where you like can follow the flow of money over time. You see the amount of, you see the total balance and you see the number of transactions, but all transactions are like they seem completely independent of each other. So you can't tell this cluster of transaction probably belongs to some user and this other cluster is not possible. Every transaction is completely independent. Yeah, so that's why there's no toxic data. Also, as a guardian, you don't have You don't have to be scared about like someone copying your database or breaking into your Guardian and stealing data. There's quiet privacy. So there's no like critical data on their Guardian to be leaked, really. As Eric said, right now, the data is even public. We could make it private, theoretically, or significantly more private, and not expose all of this. But yeah, even if you kind of expose even if you expose everything that the Guardian knows and keeps on disk, you still know very, very little. So
that's by design. Like when I built the current version that's like public, I was like, why should we hide what the Guardians know? Like our goal is to build software that's even private against the Guardians. Like that's the beauty of this here. Even if all the Guardians were compromised, they still can't be anonymized users.
Yeah.
So maybe a nice analogy is imagine that the cashier here only takes cash, and we'd all be paying with cash. In the end, the cashier knows like this amount has come in and this I gave out, or it doesn't even know what it gave out as change. It just knows what came in, but it doesn't know what is the transaction history of the nodes or who paid with which node in the end. Like they know I have like 400 rand, 4,000 rand more than this morning.
Yeah. If you break in, you only see the full balance, and that's it, kind of. So yeah, this is you have a very unique relationship there. For once, because you're trusting a group of people and not a single individual, which is also great for the Guardians, by the way, because you yourself can still sleep well, even if you custody like 10 Bitcoin. The probability that you're losing this is very, very low. So you don't have to lock this Guardian away anywhere. You can just like put it on your night board or like next to your router or anything. You don't have to like absolutely freak out about where the backup is and if like someone's going to find this USB stick or whatever. The individual Guardian, if you run especially if you run like 5 or 7 or 7 out of 10, the individual Guardian is like not that important. You have good backup options, and even if all options fail, the system is still going to work fine, and eventually you can move the funds out then for the users. And the other side of this is that you trust people with the custody, but you don't trust them with your privacy, not at all. They couldn't tell if they tried.
Does that extend to transactions as they're happening as well?
Come again?
I kind of assume that maybe there's some kind of validator mechanism like with Liquid, where one of the nodes or the one validating a transaction, and during that time, that node has insight into the transaction. Is there no visibility on that level either?
No, like the only privacy leak could be right now on the network layer, but like Fedimint by design doesn't lock anything there. Like you'd have to have a malicious Guardian, and also we're fixing it with Frog.
Yeah. So you could try to correlate IP addresses over time, but that only works so well. Yeah.
So I like the analogy, and it's what I'm talking about is you can see, okay, this is the person giving the node. That's the.
But that's on the network layer, and you can fix it with Frog. And there's no special data you need to verify if a transaction is valid. Like you have the people who are verifying, like they only see the public data for that.
Yeah, and if you make an eCash transaction, the client sending the money actually never comes online. So you can't even correlate IP addresses. For the mint, kind of like the eCash that is then like redeemed by the receiver, so they see the receiver come online, but they have no idea. They like it is mathematically impossible to tell where that eCash is coming from. Actually, you have in that sense you have like perfect privacy. Yeah.
One last question: is it open source?
Yes. So Fedimint is completely open source, and the client app that we are showing you today is also completely open source. That's also maybe the last slide where you see the codes here. So the app that I showed you before is like freshly released to the Play Store, to the App Store. Unfortunately, I didn't quite make it, so hopefully, like in a couple of days, it will be released. But yeah, if you have an Android phone, You can scan the QR code on the left, download the app, and then you can scan the QR code on the right and join the Good Hope Federation. And use it over the next days, experiment with it.
Give feedback.
Yeah, give feedback to me if you have any issues, and yeah. There's another question.
Will Good Hope stay online, and what actually happens if like a federation is shut down?
Yeah, so Good Hope is we want to stay online for at least the next week. Right now it's a bit of a testing thing. But if a federation gets shut down, the guardians, they can go to the dashboard and notify it, and then it will be shown in the app like, hey, this federation is shutting down. And the guardians, they can also configure like a follow-up federation that they recommend to join instead and migrate your funds to at the next possible time. And then you just click join in the app, and yeah, you will join the federation. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to bring it back. So we've got the Good Hope Federation running, and there's like a surfer, and there's a guy that does designing, and there's like, this is not technical people. It took us like 20 minutes to set up the federation. If you've got a Start 9, it's really like downloading the Fedimint package, clicking install. I think within the next years, every family that cares about privacy, cares about keeping their family's custody safe and stuff like that, should just run this. It's really easy. Start experimenting with it. Get 3 friends together, just start using it and go from there.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, so, yeah.
Do you have external entities like auditing the code and like testing, or like mainly internal testing?
Well, the code is, as I said, the code is all open source. But yeah, we do a bunch of testing, like also internal to the Fedimint project. I would say like standard for open source.
Bradley, and you kind of the whole thing. And on the way, like 2 people, I think.
Yeah, Fedimint is a big project, so we have like 5 developers working on this full time, and like a few others that are coming and going. So yeah, this is not a small project or like something 1 or 2 people put together over the last year. This has been going on for years. Over the time, overall, like millions of dollars have been poured into the development, like just into wages for the developers and so forth. So, yeah, this is the end result of a like 3 to 4 year effort, depending on how you count. 4.5 years for him, actually. He's been at this for 4.5 years. For me, it's been like 3. Yeah.